My name's Maya Thompson. I'm 29 years old, and 3 weeks ago, I woke up to find my face on TikTok under the hashtag #TarjCrazyX. It's strange how quickly your entire life can be rewritten by someone who once held your heart. One moment, you're the girl they swore they'd protect. The next, you're a meme, a joke. A headline built out of half-truths and filters. I remember that morning like it was burned into my chest. My phone kept buzzing nonstop, mentions, DMs, screenshots. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Then I saw his username. Ethan Reed TV. He was sitting in our old apartment, the one we'd painted together, talking into the camera with those soft, fake eyes he used to melt me with. His voice was calm, rehearsed. Some people just can't let go, he said. Sometimes love turns dangerous. I watched myself become the villain in a story I didn't even know was being told. The comments poured in like poison. She sounds insane. Red flag alert. Glad he got out. I just sat there, numb, clutching my coffee until it went cold. I didn't cry. Not at first. I just kept replaying that video, trying to understand how the man who once begged me not to give up on him could look straight into a camera and rewrite me into a nightmare. People always say there are two sides to every story. But on the internet, only one side gets the first laugh. And maybe that's why, after days of silence, I decided to give mine a heartbeat, because Ethan thought the internet would protect him. But he forgot about the screenshots. Before Ethan, my life was quiet. Predictable, maybe, but peaceful. I grew up in a small town outside Richmond, Virginia, the kind of place where your mailman knows your dog's name and your mom still waves to the neighbors. My family wasn't perfect, but they were steady, the kind of people who believed in showing up, not showing off. My mom, Elaine, was a retired teacher who still corrected my grammar in text messages. My younger brother, Josh, was my opposite, loud, sarcastic, and fiercely loyal. He worked in IT, which meant he was naturally suspicious of anyone with too much online energy. When I first introduced Ethan, my mom smiled politely, but Josh didn't even bother to hide his smirk. A content creator? He asked, leaning back on the couch. So, like he makes videos for a living? Ethan just laughed and said, I tell stories. Back then, I thought that was beautiful. I loved the way he made everything sound meaningful. The way he'd turn ordinary moments into something cinematic. A sunset, a coffee spill, a song on the radio. He said I made him want to be real online. I believed him. My mom pulled me aside after dinner that night and said quietly, Sweetheart, just remember people who need an audience to feel alive can be dangerous when the crowd disappears. I laughed it off. She didn't understand social media, I told myself. She didn't see the way Ethan looked at me when the camera wasn't on. He was funny, gentle, and driven. Sure, he talked about views a lot, but he talked about us too. And maybe that's what blinded me. The idea that love and performance could exist in the same breath. Because for a while, they did. Until the day I realized the stories Ethan told online. It weren't just stories anymore. It started small, like hairline cracks in glass you don't notice until they spread. Ethan's TikTok started growing faster than either of us expected. What began as skits and funny relationship moments turned into daily story times about red flags, toxic energy, and healing after manipulation. At first, I laughed when people commented things like, "This is so real," or "You must have dated my ex." He told me it was just relatable content. But slowly, the details started to sound familiar. He'd talk about a girl who gets jealous when I work late, or someone who reads too deep into everything. And even though he never said my name, he didn't need to. I could hear my words, my actual words, woven into his scripts. I remember confronting him one night while he was editing a video. "Ethan, are you talking about us?" He looked up, smiling like I'd just caught him doing something harmless. "It's creative expression, babe. People love when it's real." "Yeah," I whispered. "But it's our real." He kissed my forehead and said, "Then don't give them a reason to think it's you." That's when I felt something shift, not just between us, but inside me. I started watching him more carefully, the way his eyes lit up when comments poured in, the way he'd scroll through validation like oxygen. And then came that video. He posted it late one night while I was asleep, a 3-minute TikTok titled, When your ex can't move on. I woke up to hundreds of notifications. My friends were sending screenshots, my coworkers whispering in the break room. He used my laugh, an old clip from one of our videos together. My face was blurred, but anyone who knew us could tell. The caption read, "Some people only love you when you're filming." That line broke me more than any insult could, because it was exactly what I used to tell him about himself. When I called, he didn't pick up. When I texted, he replied, "Relax, it's content. You're taking it too personally." But it was personal. It was my life, my voice, my trust. That was the night I stopped defending him and started saving everything. Screenshots, voice notes, DMs, every piece of the story he thought he owned. For a while, I stayed silent. That's what people expect from women like me. The ones labeled emotional, overreacting, too sensitive. I told myself the storm would pass, that eventually people would see through the performance. But the internet doesn't work like that. Ethan's video hit over 200,000 likes in 3 days. My name started showing up in comments, tagged by people who recognized my apartment wall, my voice, even my ring. Strangers began stitching his TikToks, calling me a warning sign. He leaned into it when posting sad duets, fake crying, holding his head in his hands like a man grieving a ghost. And then came the podcast. A friend sent me the link with no message, just the fire emoji. Ethan was sitting in a dim studio wearing a hoodie, speaking softly into a mic about how he'd escaped a toxic relationship. He said he was finally healing. The host nodded like a therapist, asking if I ever apologized. He smiled. She's not the kind of person who takes responsibility. That line hit me like a physical blow. I replayed it over and over, my chest tightening. I could almost hear the sound of the world believing him. But then, something inside me shifted. I realized I was sitting on everything he'd ever sent me. Every confession, every contradiction, every late-night apology he never thought anyone else would see. So I opened my phone, scrolled through my camera roll, and posted one quiet TikTok. No words, no hashtags. Just screenshots. Blurry text with timestamps, his name in the corner, a single caption. Just so the truth has a heartbeat. At first, it barely got attention. But a few hours later, the comments changed tone. People started asking questions. Wait, isn't this the guy who said, "These dates don't line up"? Ethan went live that night, denying everything. His hands were shaking, his smile tight. "She's obsessed," he said. "She's trying to ruin me." But his panic gave him away. He started deleting old videos. Then the podcast disappeared. Then he stopped posting altogether. I didn't celebrate. I didn't dance on his downfall. I just sat there watching the views climb, feeling both powerful and sick. Because even though I'd only shown a glimpse, I knew this was just the beginning. The silence didn't last long. Within a week, Ethan's followers began to split, half defending him, half demanding answers. Comment sections turned into battlefields. I didn't respond to any of it. I didn't have to. The truth was starting to speak for itself. A few creators who had collaborated with him before started to distance themselves. One of them, a girl named Kara, posted a vague TikTok about influencers who fake breakups for engagement. She didn't name him, but everyone knew. Then a mutual friend, someone Ethan used to brag to, sent me a voice memo. His voice was unmistakable, cocky, laughing. "Bro, you'd be surprised how much sympathy content sells. All you need is a sad story and a villain. The internet eats that up." My hands shook as I listened, not because I was surprised, but because hearing him admit it out loud made everything real. I didn't post it. Not yet, I wasn't trying to destroy him. I just wanted people to see the truth clearly, without the filters, without the edits, without the pity. Meanwhile, my inbox began to fill with messages from women all over the world. Strangers, nurses, teachers, mothers. Some told me they'd dated someone just like him. Men who turned love into performance, pain into content. Others simply said, "Thank you for not staying quiet." But not everyone was kind. A few of his loyal fans spammed my videos, calling me bitter, jealous, unstable. My mom saw some of the comments and begged me to stop. "Maya," she said over the phone, her voice trembling, "what if this ruins your career? You're not like him. You have something to lose." I already lost it, Mom, I whispered. My name, my peace. He took that the moment he hit upload. I thought about deleting everything. I even drafted a goodbye post, something poetic about healing and letting go. And then, just as I was about to post it, Ethan went live again. He sat there smirking, saying, "Some people just can't handle being called out. She's obsessed, man. Won't stop talking about me." That's when I knew he hadn't learned a thing. He still believed the internet was his stage and I was his storyline, so I made a decision that night. No more half-truths. No more silence. If he wanted an audience, he was about to get one. I didn't post out of rage. I posted out of clarity. That night, I sat on my bed, lights off, scrolling through months of messages, all the apologies, the lies, the contradictions, every piece of the story Ethan had rewritten. I held in my hands. Then I opened TikTok, and I began to upload, one video at a time. The first clip was quiet, a screen recording of a message he sent me the night before our breakup. His words scrolled slowly across the screen. "If we ever split, please don't make me look bad online. I have sponsorships riding on this." Caption: "You started filming before I started healing." The second video showed a voice note, his voice, unmistakably him, saying, "You know how this works, babe. If I post emotional stuff, I get traction. It's not about you, it's just business." People flooded the comments. "Wait, is this the same Ethan Reed TV? Business? He literally called her dangerous. Wow, she's been quiet for months." By morning, my videos had over 1 million views. His follower count started dropping. Then I posted the one that changed everything, the voice memo his friend had sent me. Ethan laughing, saying, "I can spin anything. As long as I cry a little, they'll believe me." It spread like wildfire. Podcasts, drama pages, even local news picked it up. Headlines read, "Influencer exposed for faking breakup story." Leaked audio reveals TikTok star's manipulation. Ethan panicked. He DM'd me, a long message full of apologies, excuses, and desperation. "Maya, please take it down. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I'll tell everyone it was mutual. Please, I'm losing everything." For a moment, I almost pitied him. Because beneath all his arrogance, I saw the scared little boy who couldn't live without attention. But pity wasn't healing, so I posted one last screenshot. His final message: "If you post this, you'll ruin me." I captioned it simply, "I didn't ruin you. You recorded it." The video hit 5 million views in 24 hours. Brands pulled his sponsorships. His management cut ties. The comments turned against him overnight. And for the first time in months, I slept. No buzzing phone, no tears, no shaking hands. Just silence, heavy, peaceful silence. When I woke up, the world felt different. I checked my phone out of habit, then set it down. I didn't need validation anymore. I didn't need to win, because the truth, unedited, unfiltered, had finally spoken for me. He built his career on storytelling. And this time, the story told itself. When everything finally quieted down, I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. The internet had turned into a courtroom for months, people analyzing every clip, every caption, every reaction. At first, the comments were full of praise. "You showed him. Queen of receipts. She handled it with class." But even the kindness felt loud. It was like my pain had become entertainment again, only this time, for the people on my side. Ethan disappeared from social media. His accounts went private, his videos deleted. I heard through a mutual friend that he moved back to his parents' house for a while. Some said he was working on himself, others said he was trying to plan a comeback. I didn't care anymore. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted peace. My mom came over one evening with groceries and a hesitant smile. We hadn't talked much during the chaos. She was scared for me, scared that I'd lose myself in the noise. She sat on my couch and took my hand. "You didn't destroy him, Maya. You told the truth. That's not revenge. That's survival." Her words hit me harder than any comment online. Because she was right. I hadn't wanted to hurt him. I'd wanted to breathe again. Over the next few weeks, I slowly started deleting things. The screenshots, the videos, the folders of evidence. Not because I regretted posting them, but because I didn't need them anymore. Josh stopped by one day with takeout and said, I never thought you'd actually do it. Do what? I asked. Stand up for yourself? And win. I smiled, but it wasn't about winning. It was about finally being seen, not as the crazy ex or the villain, but as a woman who refused to stay erased. I still get messages from strangers, some sharing their own heartbreaks, some asking for advice. I never know what to say. There's no guidebook for reclaiming your name after someone turns it into content. But I tell them what I learned. You can't control the narrative someone builds about you, but you can control when you start writing your own. And that's exactly what I was finally ready to do. It's been 3 months since everything went public. Sometimes, when I scroll through my feed, I still see clips of Ethan's old videos, reposted by commentary channels, stitched by strangers, dissected like evidence from another lifetime. I don't click anymore. I don't need to. People ask if I'd take it back, if I regret posting the screenshots. I don't, but I also don't celebrate it. Because the truth isn't always gentle, and it doesn't always heal in the way you expect. What I learned is this: silence doesn't protect you when lies go viral. It only makes the lies stronger. I used to think dignity meant keeping quiet, that the person who walks away gracefully somehow wins. But I learned that sometimes grace looks like speaking up, calmly, clearly, and unapologetically. I still work my nursing shifts. I still make coffee in the same chipped mug. Life didn't suddenly turn cinematic. It just got quieter and real. My circle got smaller too, but tighter, honest. The world moved on, as it always does. New stories, new villains, new heartbreaks to analyze. But I don't need the world's attention anymore. I have my peace back. A few weeks ago, someone commented on one of my old posts. She turned pain into proof. I stared at that comment for a long time. Because that's exactly what it was. Not revenge, not payback. Just proof. Proof that I existed in the story he tried to erase. Proof that love, when twisted into performance, becomes its own kind of cruelty. Ethan taught me that. He turned me into content, and I turned him into a lesson. Now, when I think about him, I don't feel anger. I feel distance. Like looking at a picture that used to mean something. Because the real story was never about him going viral. It was about me finally letting the truth breathe, and walking away before the noise started again.